Hello, hello, and welcome. So, I have a very important message, very hot topic, if you will, to share today. And so, if you're finding this message, you're meant to find it. And I'm going to direct it towards the twin flame community, but I want to, which I think as I go, as I channel, I think it'll be really clear how this applies to all of life, every aspect of our sovereignty and our inner knowing. So, the goal of any spiritual journey is to get us to a place of pure sovereignty, pure knowingness, where we are so balanced in our inner emotional worlds, as well as our spiritual world, as well as the physical world. We're just very, very balanced in a place of unity and oneness. This means that we've also balanced the masculine part of ourselves as well as the feminine part of ourselves that we all hold. And we're just in an inner union. And so all of the gifts that each of those polarities brings, we have access to, which allows us to see things in truth, allows us to be extremely discerning and all-knowing. It gives us a lot of power. And it's true power. It's not a false sense of power, because what we've come to know as power in the world usually looks like exerting dominance and manipulation and control. And that's not true power, because when you have that inner union, you don't need to exert your dominance or your will onto anyone or anything. Quite the opposite. So a lot of people find this twin flame journey from a place of pain, from a place of vulnerability, from a place of loss. So your frequency is not very high when you're in that. And that's not good or bad or wrong. It's a necessary part of life. Our frequencies are going to dip. We're going to go through hard times. We're going to be in states of pain. So let's say that somebody comes to this journey in a low frequency, and then they start digesting all of the information and the content out there about twin flames. And they feel eventually down the road, is this healthy for me? Is this toxic? Is there something wrong? Should I be listening to this? And they go through all of these ups and downs in the journey of like, screw this journey. Oh my God, like false prophets, false light. It's all BS. It's all wrong, blah, 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 blah. Going through a lot of doubt, feeling like they've been gaslit or they've been lied to. And remember when I said, apply this to any spiritual, or not even spiritual, but any sort of teaching, any community out there. If you feel like this about a relationship you're in, if you feel like this about a group or a culture or a belief that you've been a part of. So a spiritual journey, twin flame or not, is getting you to this place of inner union that I briefly spoke about, this place of inner power. When you are in that place, you cannot be deceived. You cannot be gaslit. You cannot even be lied to. So the purpose of this journey has always been to get you there. Let's say somebody comes into this journey from the place I said, and they were in a very low frequency, but through surrendering to this energy, through discerning and weeding through the content that resonates and the content that doesn't, taking their power back, using themselves as the truth, meaning they may listen to something, but instead of just taking it all in and saying, yes, this is fact, they weed it through their own systems. And then they're able to say, you know what, I don't resonate with that. Or maybe I resonate with this, but I don't resonate with that. And they work through this process. And you're going to have a lot of difficulty in this process. That's not an easy process. It's a long process. You're going to go through iterations where you're on one end of the spectrum to the other. So there'll be times where you get really angry and triggered by something when you don't resonate with it. And you're like, screw this creator, screw this person, like they're bad, right? And then you'll go through periods where you're just absorbing everything. It's like everything they say is gold and they can do no wrong, right? The middle path is what we're all coming to on a spiritual journey. So then once you're in that place and you're coming to this place of discernment, and you've been on this twin flame journey, and you've heard the full spectrum, you've heard this information, you've heard that information, and let's say you come to that point and you find out that the person that you thought was your twin flame, very clearly in your knowing from this middle path, from this inner union, you realize they are not your twin flame. Now, was the journey in vain? Did you lose something from it? Were you lied to? Were you deceived? If you've come to this middle path and you've come into inner union, The answer is no, because you learned so much about yourself. You learned a very, very important critical lesson, and you can be extremely grateful to that person that got you there, because they were a teacher. They were a healer, whether or not they were your true twin flame or not. And yes, there is a difference, but the difference almost doesn't matter most of the time. So the only way that you can fail this journey or not get it right is to completely block yourself off to its wisdom and its teachings. And its wisdom and its teachings is about harmony, is about oneness, is about unity. It's about coming into a complete inner balance and knowing the difference between love and not love and what you want and what you don't want, right? Coming into this frequency of true divine love. And so then when you come in contact with something that is not divine love, you can see it more clearly. You know what it is and you know what it isn't. That is what this journey is. And for some, it is the twin flame that keeps them going when it's really hard. It is that person. It is that connection. It is that feeling that they had at one point for this person, with this person, that is what gets them out of bed, right? No matter how painful, no matter how dark. That's why I've often called the twin flame journey the foolproof plan. It's like the shiny carrot that spirit dangles. And so for those that are true twins, this is part of it. There are so many people that come to the twin flame content, the twin flame journey, find it organically, divinely, in a divine contract, because we all can learn from the truth and the wisdom of twin flames, period. There's no good, bad, better, worse. Your soul is always choosing. Your soul is always choosing, hey, you know what? I think in this lifetime, I think I want a twin flame because I think it's really going to get me where I need to go, right? And a soul could also choose, hey, you know what? In this lifetime, I want a soulmate, but I want to learn about twin flames and I want to have like a false twin experience, right? And so for many of you that come to this where you just feel disempowered, you feel lost, you feel like, screw this, this is all BS. What's happening is you're in a very low frequency based on your wounding and your pain. And you are being encouraged to pull yourself out of that, to shed those ego patterns, the conditioning, the programming, the pain, all of that. You're really being invited into it. Your soul, your higher self is inviting you into it. The content creator is not. The twin flame coach is not. They may be an inspiration on your path or a trigger on your path, which is the same thing, inspiration, right? But it's really your soul guiding you always. That's where when we know our own power, we know that we're in the driver's seat, right? Along with God. Like we're working in tandem. We know that we are co-creating every single thing. So if you are creating a period of a lot of pain and confusion and doubt and deception and all the icky stuff that you see out there in the twin flame communities and people getting trapped in cycles of abuse and all this stuff, gaslighting, etc., know that your soul is trying to show you something, trying to get you out of something, some sort of a belief, some sort of a limiting, past trauma, pain, codependency, attachment styles, you name it, trying to show you something so that you know, oh, this is living inside of me. Now I know I need to purge and to clean and clear that. And the twin flame message and the twin flame, I guess I'm going to say content, but it's not really content. It's the wisdom. It's the teaching, the twin flame teachings. It helps anyone and everyone. You don't have to be a twin flame. You don't even really have to be interested in love, to be honest, or relationships, because it's a path to inner union. It's a path to unity and wholeness and claiming your sovereignty and coming back to your power, which is what all spiritual journeys are doing. That is essentially the whole point. Some people choose a twin flame journey in order to get there. So let's go back to this hypothetical person who feels really distraught and upset by the whole thing, and they want to reject it and they want to run away. Well, you're just running away from truth, and you're just running away from yourself. And whether or not that person was your true twin flame or not is irrelevant. It's really irrelevant because this has always been a journey about you and who you are. And when you move through this journey in a state of surrender and flow, and you get to a certain point, you start to see that. You can connect those dots because you're coming from a place of harmony and you can have this gratitude. I'm sure many of you have experienced the passing of a relationship and the ending. And, at the beginning, not being able to be grateful, not being able to see why it happened to you, especially if there was abuse or there was some sort of a thing like that. It's really hard to find that gratitude. But as you heal and as you move on and you raise your frequency and you start to come in back into your empowerment, you can look back and say, wow, I'm so grateful I had that lesson. And you can even be thankful to the person, right? We've all had that experience, and it doesn't even have to be in love and relationship. It can be, in platonic relationships as well. So this journey was always getting you to find you, to come back to you, to be with you, to not leave yourself out in the cold anymore. And once you heal that and you come into a greater sense of harmony within yourself with that, then you manifest that true love that your soul may be desiring and craving, because that person can meet you and match you in the energy. Because I guarantee you, your true love, whether it's a twin flame, whether it's a soulmate, it really doesn't matter. Whoever this person is that shares that soul frequency and that you have a divine contract with, that you decided we're going to do this together, they are going to call you into your highest self, right? So they're not going to find you. You're not going to attract each other when you are in a state of low frequency or pain, unless it is a twin flame journey and you're meant to be the initiate and the instigator to get each other out of that darkness, whatever you've been in. But typically, which is why the twin flame separation exists, you cannot sustain being in contact. You cannot sustain being together in that low frequency. You have to go off in your corners and heal. Whereas soulmates can oftentimes do that healing together. However, for the point of this hypothetical, this person that thought they were on a twin flame journey felt like they got burned by it, but they continued to surrender and continue to flow and work with their internal guidance system and the divine within them. And they've come to this place of peace and harmony and true self-love, not material self-love, not, oh, I love myself because look at my body and look at my bank account and look at my house and blah, blah, blah. No, true. I would go and be alone with myself for the rest of my life if I had no other choice. Like if it was like this person, and I know they're not vibrational matches and they're low frequency, I choose me, right? True self-love. Once you're in that place, you have this gratitude and you have this deep understanding for the whole thing. And in this hypothetical, that is how you attract the true partner. That is when the true partner can find you. So what Spirit has been showing me in this collective of the twin flame journey, many of you found the twin flame journey divinely. You were meant to. And you maybe were meant to believe that this person was your twin flame, even though they maybe were just a karmic, as the kids might call it, right? Maybe they were just a lesson. And karmics, it is a divine contract, but once that contract is complete and the lesson is learned, they disappear from your life. That's how you know the difference, right? A soulmate comes back. They always come back, right? They're a soulmate. So even if that person passes on, you'll feel their energy again. They'll be in your thoughts. They'll be in your heart. They're never gone. They're always there. Or it's like that friendship where you can go years and years and years without speaking and they just show back up, right? That's a deep soul bond, a deep soulmate type connection and love, which a twin flame falls into that category, right? But a karmic is somebody who I'm sure you've experienced. Maybe they felt that way for a long time, where you'd have years and years apart and you come back together and you'd leave and you'd come back together. But once the lesson that your souls decided to learn together is complete, it's like they're gone. It's like they never come back. You don't carry a piece of them. You don't think about them. It's like that cord is cut, right? Because it did what it needed to do. It served its purpose. So from this higher frequency, from this inner knowing, from this state of wholeness, from this state of self-love, this person then can attract the true twin flame. Perhaps it is a twin flame. You can call it whatever you want. Perhaps it's a soulmate, right? Perhaps you decided as a soul that you wanted to work out all your karma and all your density with someone that wasn't your twin flame. You wanted to be initiated by someone who was more like a karmic, and then you wanted to think that was your twin flame, and then all of a sudden when you were ready, you realize, oh my God, it's not. And then you have that choice point there where you can either fall back and be really angry and bitter and reject the whole thing and say, well, screw it all, throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Or you had the choice point to say, you know what, I'm going to keep surrendering. I'm going to keep going with my gut and my guidance and trust myself and see where this leads me. And then lo and behold, aha, when you're ready, the teacher appears, right? When the student is ready, the teacher appears, and vice versa. When you're ready, that soulmate, that twin flame appears. So perhaps that person now was your twin flame, but because both of you, hopefully, ideally, maybe, had already healed a lot of that karma, a lot of that trauma, a lot of the stuff that needed to be worked out. You don't have to go through this really painful twin flame experience or separation, right? Same thing with the soulmate. So every single soul contract is different, and you knew what was best for you, right? You and your twin knew exactly what was best for you and what you needed to fulfill your purpose and your mission here. So this whole narrative of the toxicity around twin flames, the toxicity around the spiritual journey, the spiritual community, that it's full of deviants and you know, predators, and you know, it's not that that's untrue, but it's also not something to be afraid of when you come to this inner wholeness, because it's that, I've channeled this a lot, you're unfuckable. Nothing can touch you, nothing can harm you, right? Not only are you deeply protected, but you yourself have risen above that frequency. So you can see everything in truth, everything in truth. You can see it so clearly. And you can also have gratitude and see, oh, this is why I had to allow this really deceptive, low frequency person into my environment for such a long time, because I was learning from them. They were teaching me. There was a lesson here, and I was teaching them. And it was an exchange. It was an equal give and take exchange. And so now I don't have to write them off as a horrible person. I don't have to talk badly about them. I don't have to use that false sense of power or exert my dominance or power to make myself feel better, because you already are whole. And when you're whole, you don't need to pump yourself up, right? You don't need to be in any sort of an ego battle with yourself or anyone else. So the greatest sort of misstep that you could make would be to reject the whole journey, to reject everything that you learned, and to backtrack and to go back in energy, or go back in the lessons and say, this is all BS, because you were meant to learn this for a reason. And even if you choose to do that, because you do have free will choice, if you choose to do that, that's okay. The lesson will find you again. It'll loop around, because that's how energy works. Right? Until it's cleared, until it's released, until it's transmuted, it lives. It's in you, right? It's in your orbit. It's around you. So this is really a message for anyone that has felt like they've been burned by the twin flame journey, or even the spiritual journey. You know, there's a lot of stuff coming out about spiritual teachers and spiritual people in the communities and the truth of them and their darkness. And I mean, there's a lot of this coming out, and it's only going to continue. It's going to snowball, right? Because you're going to start to see the difference between spiritual ego and spiritual truth. And there's many, especially the very popular people, the people that have more followers and subscribers and all of that, tend to get that choice point where they get the option. Do I move into the material? And do I really hunker into that spiritual ego? Or, which is a lot easier, honestly, it's a shinier choice. Trust me, I've been there. Or do I stay committed in humility, right? And in truth and in divinity, and know that it might be slower for me. It might not be as shiny. It might not be as easy, but I'm committed to this path and I'm committed to service, right? And we know the choice that a lot of people make. And then what it does is it paints the community in a very negative light, and it scares a lot of people. I've been seeing this for a long time, this vision of an exodus from the spiritual communities, just like there's been an exodus from religion. I've been seeing the exodus from spiritual communities, and the people are leaving not having completed the journey or coming to that sense of wholeness where they're able to discern truth and knowing, and they're a little bit in their ego and in their fear, and their frequency is low. So that leaves them pretty vulnerable, right? So they leave this community or leave that religion. And interestingly enough, they find something very similar, even if it's not called religion, even if it's not, necessarily about spirituality, it's a matching frequency. So perhaps they run into a narcissist out in their life after this, because they're in this vulnerable state of this frequency. And the narcissistic person has a very similar vibration to the narcissistic spiritual ego within this community, right? Or the fear. I hope this is making sense, because I know I'm speaking in kind of broad terms. And obviously, I'm sure many of you know that's kind of how energy is. It's this mutable, changeable thing. So to try and talk about it can be difficult. But of course, this isn't me talking. This is spirit and me attempting to channel what they're showing me and what they're telling me. And so it's up to me to do it in a clear way that is tangible and people can understand. So thanks for bearing with me. So this exodus from these communities, leaving in a vulnerable state, leaving in a low frequency, feeling like they were burned or something was taken away from them. But the thing is once you get to a certain place on a spiritual journey, any spiritual journey, twin flame or not, nothing can be taken from you. Nothing can be stolen. Not your time, not your dignity, not your love, nothing, right? You have an unlimited source of all of that within you. And it's within that place that you can go into the darkest communities, the darkest places on earth. You can learn and understand, and you can hurt for society. You can hurt for the collective. You can feel your emotion, but it doesn't kill you. And it doesn't cause you to shut your heart. It doesn't cause you to shut your heart and choose a timeline of egotism, right? Of getting stuck in a spiritual materialist timeline, right? In the false light, in the eighth sphere, as Steiner might call it, in thinking that you're speaking with Yeshua or Archangel Michael, but actually speaking to a lower entity that is calling themselves that. But because you are at a lower frequency, you are not a match for Archangel Michael in the higher exaltation. So you would not be given permission to channel that Archangel Michael, right? And I know this got off on a tangent and that gets a little bit complicated. So I'll stop that there. But I'm hoping to inspire hope in any of you who have felt burned by a community, whether it's spiritual, whether it's twin flame or not, and to know that there was always a point, there was always a reason. And it wasn't so you would reject everything and yourself and the teaching. The true master can deduce wisdom from anything, right? Can watch something or somebody, someone that they diabolically disagree with, and they, in some perspectives or timelines, can even be like, this is my enemy. This is exactly what I'm fighting against, right? In the timeline of fighting. And they can still say, oh, okay, I do resonate with that. Okay, that one thing you said, I totally resonate, right? This tolerance, the sense of tolerance, the sense of humility, which we've gotten pretty far away from on this planet. And that is because most of us are not coming to this inner union. We're not getting to enlightenment. We're not getting to this inner state of harmony where we can see truth and we can discern, mostly because we don't trust ourselves. And if you don't trust yourselves, you just fall prey. You just fall prey to all of these energies. These energies are really clever. They're clever. They're very, very clever. These people, these energies, they're very clever. But you always, always have all the power, and you can take back your power at any moment. The moment you start remembering who you are, and you know that whatever journey you're on, no matter how painful or difficult it might be, you know that you are moving through these energies so that you can release them once and for all. You're not just experiencing them to suffer, right? And you always have the power to say, I'm done, or I'm not. And so with this twin flame connection, there's a lot of people I know that, because they think this person is their twin flame, which by the way, they could be, right? This person is their twin flame. And that twin flame then doesn't treat them well and comes in and out because of their own trauma and their own pain, and, the running and the chasing and the manipulating and the gaslighting and the deception and all of the things that an unhealed person, an unaware, unhealed person inflicts on another, right? Twin flame or no twin flame. When you love yourself, you do not accept that from anyone. It doesn't matter if it's your twin flame, because love is not putting up with anything no matter what because you love them. No, love holds boundaries. This whole planet has been in this template of codependent relationship, which means that we don't believe in setting boundaries. It means that if we let someone go, then that means we don't love them, which could not be further from the truth. Walking away and letting somebody go and holding a boundary for yourself and for them actually calls them forward and holds them higher, which is why those that do participate in the twin flame journey and surrender to a separation and surrender to not knowing tend to experience a lot more of the spiritual ascension than those that don't, right? Than those that hold on, the fear of letting go, the fear of what will happen if I don't talk to this person, or, they might be treating me poorly and I don't really enjoy how they're treating me, but, if I stop responding or I stop talking to them, then what will happen? Like, oh my God, will they be gone forever? So when you heal all that stuff within you, and by the way, I think I've already touched on it, but there's a lot in here for you about attachment styles and codependency. So when we heal all that stuff, we start to realize nothing can be lost. I can't be lost. My love can't be lost. My love can't be wasted. Those two don't even make sense. Love cannot be wasted, right? All right. I hope this is clear. I hope this made sense. It was definitely inspired by some responses and emails I've had recently about people at this kind of turning point that we're in, where some people are realizing like, maybe this isn't my twin, or maybe this isn't. And I just wanted to give voice and affirmation for you, like confirmation for you that you're not alone and you're not crazy. And if that is what's occurring for you, it's not good or bad. It just is. And there's information in it for you to move into a higher state, to transmute, to heal, right? It's beautiful. And it's a gift. And it's a gift. And by the way, the second that you come to a realization, whatever it is, no matter how painful, maybe it has nothing to do with the twin. Maybe you come to a realization, oh my God, I've been engaging with a narcissist for so long and I had no idea this person was a narcissist. Holy cow, right? Whatever it is, you were ready to access that information and on a moment too soon, right? The lesson wouldn't have been completed if you knew it back then, right? You had to go through the process. So we always know at the exact right time that we're meant to know. That is part of the divine timing. And again, it's not a date on the calendar. It is something that we can call forward and we can call in, but we have to be coming from that state of wholeness to create that reality. And if we're coming from any sort of deception or blockage in our sight, we won't be able to do that. And that's okay, because this journey is such that it will move you along no matter what. It's moving you along no matter what, right? So the moment that you come to this deep understanding and knowing and you have that aha, it's the exact moment you were supposed to. So being hard on yourself about, oh, why couldn't I figure this out sooner? Or why didn't I know this sooner? Blah, 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 blah. It's a waste. That's useless. Guilt and shame has no place in a truly unified human, right? When you are truly in union, you don't hold guilt or shame. There's no place for that. It's just not there, right? You could try to like go access it and like, try and effort yourself into accessing it, but you can't feel bad. Because guilt and shame is directly a result of somebody trying to project their stuff onto you. That's what all guilt and shame is about, right? And we can't interfere with each person's free will choice. That's a law. So we can try and we can think that we are, and that's where guilt and shame are born, but we can't. We just can't do it. We are powerful creators. And when we start remembering who we truly are, we let go of a lot of this pain that we've been holding for a long time that was never ours, right? Okay. Oh, I feel like we went all over the place in that transmission, but I'm just going to trust that it flowed and it made sense. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you for your likes, your subscribes, your comments. I know I hate to harp on it, but YouTube and its algorithms has gotten really, really weird. So I'm so grateful to those that do find this content now and that appreciate it. And so giving back in any way is really appreciative. I have a Patreon, so there's a lot more content there. That's a great way to support this channel so that I can keep making the free content. The lowest tier is less than $5 a month. So even that is a great way to give back. And then of course you do get extra content from that tier. Booking and working with me, of course, if you're called and guided, because that is a much deeper container that your soul does have to feel aligned and ready for. But even just the liking and the commenting and sharing this video and subscribing is hugely, hugely helpful. And yeah, I'm really grateful to be a channel in service to the collective. And I'm really grateful to have found you all and this community. So I'm sending you a lot of love. I'll be back soon. I know I've been promising it for a while, but I do have some tarot readings coming soon, as well as extendeds. So they're coming up this month. Just stay tuned. All right. Make sure you subscribe and turn on the notification bell too, so you know when I upload. All right. Lots of love.